Hey y'all, how's it going? Happy Pride. Today I'm gonna tell you about my coming out story. As you all know, it's Pride Month. I'm about to go up to New York City this weekend for Pride, and it got me thinking I should really make a video about how I came out and how my experience was growing up gay in Maine as a mixed kid. I will say that even though I'm able to look back and kind of laugh about it now, living it was not the easiest. I think that I have a tendency to remember the best times, remember all the good times, and I think that's kind of how the human brain works. We remember a lot of the good and we kind of bury away some of the bad, or a lot of the bad. I do remember it being, very difficult at times. I don't think about me being different that much when it comes to being gay. My mixed identity, me being half black, half white, is definitely something that I think about more in terms of me thinking about myself as a minority or kind of the struggles that I live with. It tends to be more related to me being black. I think that has a lot to do with how I came out, the environment that I was in when I came out, and really my parents and how accepting they were of me being gay. I do want to preface this by saying, in my eyes, I had a very privileged upbringing in terms of me being gay. From me being mixed and lighter skinned, I didn't face a lot of the struggles that many Black LGBTQ plus members face when they're coming out. So I think I was privileged in that regard, but I think I was also privileged to live in somewhat of a liberal area. At least my town was very liberal, and I had a lot of good people around me when I was growing up. So in that regard, I was privileged. That made my experience of coming out, of coming to terms with being gay and accepting myself, it made all of that a lot smoother. As a kid growing up, from a very young age, I wouldn't say I wanted to be a girl, but I was always playing dress up. I would use blankets as gowns or dresses. I would wear my mom's high heels. I would put shirts over my head with the neckline right here, and it would be my hair. That was my thing, so I could flip my hair. And that started from a very young age. I want to say like 3 or 4. Obviously at that age I wasn't aware of what was going on or even what it meant to be gay. But when I think about the people around me, I'm sure, they had to be like, what's going on here? And I think that probably gave my parents a little bit of heads up, like, this isn't exactly normal. My parents never made me feel different for wanting to dress up as a girl or having girl Halloween costumes or playing with Barbies. My parents never made me feel like it was wrong for wanting to do any of these things. So I think I was very lucky to be given, the space to be who I wanted to be as a very little kid, as a very young boy. My parents signed me up for soccer. I think I did t-ball. Nothing really clicked. I did basketball in 4th and 5th grade, which I hated. I vividly remember crying and begging my mom not to go. Later on in middle school, I found tennis, which was, my sport. But that wasn't until I was a little bit more sure of who I was. Just to give you guys a little bit of background, my mom is white and my dad is black. Still together, going strong. I'm a firm believer that if someone has faced discrimination, they tend to have more empathy towards others who are also being discriminated against. Obviously that's not always true, but in the case of my parents, them being an interracial couple, they've had to face a lot of discrimination together, but also separately in their own rights. My dad is a black man who was born in the 60s. He's had to face a lifetime of discrimination because of the color of his skin. My mom, she is a white woman, so obviously she has privilege, but her being a woman, she's faced sexism her whole life. Very different forms of discrimination, but they've both faced some type of discrimination in their lives, alone, without each other, and together. I think their life experience really helped them have open minds. My mom is a graphic designer, she's an artist, and my dad is a musician and a professor. I think that really helped them to kind of be more accepting of diverse people, especially of gay people. When my family moved from Colorado to Maine in 2003, I obviously started a new school. I was always a year young for my grade, and I was going into 4th grade. I very specifically remember one of the first days of school going into the boys' bathroom and some boy saying, "You're not supposed to be in here, you're a girl, this is the boys' bathroom." I think that was the first time that I had any kind of awareness that I was different. I loved Scooby-Doo as a kid. I wore bell-bottoms, probably because I thought they were really cool because of Scooby-Doo. And, you know, women wore them at the time. I don't know if they still do. But I wanted bell-bottoms because I saw Freddy and Shaggy wearing bell-bottoms. So I had worn them that day. And I think, you know, I was a new kid. I don't know if this guy was just trying to be mean or if he was just actually didn't know my gender. This was when everything started to kind of bubble up. And I was about to be 8 or 9. Kids really started bullying me in school. They were calling me a girl, they were calling me gay, they were calling me faggot. And that continued, you know, through 4th, 5th, 6th grade, relentlessly. So I was mostly friends with girls. I had one really good guy friend who was into music and into theater, and that's kind of how I found my safe space, through theater and through music, because those types of people generally tended to be more accepting of others. It was just a safer space for me to kind of grow. I think my mom must have known that I was going through bullying when I was in 4th grade, when we first moved. I remember one day I was taking a shower and my mom knocked on the door and came in and she said, "You know, honey, like, we'll always love you no matter what, no matter if you're gay, no matter who you love, we will always love you. Dad and I do not care. We will always accept you." And I still remember that. I think that her saying that, vocalizing that, making me aware that their love was unconditional, really kind of set this kind of base for me. It's hard to explain. It set this kind of, it gave me this confidence to be able to be who I was. I will never be able to thank my parents enough for that, specifically my mom for, you know, coming in and saying that to me. And of course at the time I was like, yeah, okay mom, like, what are you talking about? Like, yeah, I know, shut up. But now I realize that I think coming out and accepting myself as gay and me being who I am, because of that moment, it really made it a lot easier for me. In 7th grade was when things really kind of got a little bit more serious. There was a bullying incident with me at school. I remember it very clearly. I was 11 or 12. I was going to my locker in the hallway and there were these 2 guys that, you know, had been bullying me for at least a year or 2, standing in the hallway. And one of them was shorter, kind of probably about my height. The other one was a big basketball player, probably like 200 and something pounds. And we were in 7th grade. They were calling me names, calling me the F word, calling me gay. By this time in 7th grade, I had been getting bullied so much at school that I was just so sick of it. I tried not to let these things bother me, but to be honest, they were bothering me terribly. I remember both of their names, I remember exactly who they are, I remember all of the people who bullied me in school. I was fed up with everyone calling me gay, because at this time, you know, being gay, oh, that's so gay, was like the biggest insult. That's the worst thing that someone could say to you. And I had been getting called gay for years now, since I moved to Maine. And I just was over it. And in that moment, I pulled out a pencil out of my pocket and I stabbed it into his arm. I was suspended for, I think, two days in school suspension. The kid was fine. It was like red. Of course, they were like all worried about him. They didn't get suspended or anything. After I did that, no one bullied me ever again. And I laugh about it now because, you know, it was a pencil. The kid was fine. My parents didn't really get too upset with me because they knew I had been going through this and being bullied for years. But they did make it clear that violence was not the answer and that I was wrong to have done what I did. And you know, after that, no one no one bothered me really, to my face at least. I think also 7th, 8th grade was the time when I started to grow and I started to get a little bit bigger. I found tennis and I just so happened to be really good at tennis, but I still hadn't come out. Other kids at school noticed that I was gay or different before I even noticed it myself. I knew by 7th, 8th grade, and I did go through a denial phase where I was thinking, you know, oh, I like girls and I dated a girl. I went to a summer camp my freshman year of high school and I made out with a girl there. I swore I was in love with her, but I knew that my sexual attraction was towards men. As I was in freshman year, sophomore year, it started to become a lot more clear that, you know, I would have crushes on guys. Girls were all my friends, and even if I like kind of tried to convince myself that I liked a girl, it just didn't last. It was my sophomore year when my brother came out, and I think that that really made it a lot easier for me to come out eventually because I knew how my parents would react. In my eyes, from what I saw, it didn't seem like that big of a deal. I came out to my close friends my senior year of high school over Facebook Messenger. My best friend at the time, I think she had a crush on me, so she took it a little bit hard, but everyone was accepting of me. It just felt normal. It didn't feel like it was that big of a deal. And I think it's because like we're the youngest of the millennials and or like the beginning of the Gen Z age, like no one really cared. At least the people that I surrounded myself with, the music people, the theater people, intelligent people, no one really cared. So I was really lucky in that regard. It was freshman year of college when I had been talking to a boy. We met on Tumblr and we had to meet because he lived in California and I was going to school in Pennsylvania. And we made plans for him to come visit my family's house in Maine in the summertime. I remember calling my mom towards the end of the year after we made these plans, and I said, "Hey mom, is it okay if my boyfriend comes to stay with us for a week?" And that's how I came out. And she said, "Yep, that's fine, that's cool." And that was the only conversation that I ever had with my parents, telling them that I am gay. I didn't even say that I was gay. I just said my boyfriend's coming. I think that kind of has to do with me thinking that people shouldn't have to come out. But unfortunately, we live in a heteronormative world where it is very much not normal to be gay. I don't think that we should assume that people are gay or straight. We should just, you know, be allowed to be whatever we are. I think that's changing, and it's nice to see. There is an importance for people to come out, like famous football players or people who have big platforms. It's extremely important, not only to our community, but to also the heterosexual world, to see that, you know, there are a lot of us and we're not going away. I'm so lucky to have the family that I do. I think it made me the person that I am today, and it gave me the confidence to be who I am. You know, I feel like I owe so much to my parents for giving me that unconditional love, for allowing me to be whoever I wanted to be. Mom, Dad, Oliver, if you're watching, love you. If you haven't come out yet and you feel like you have a safe space and good people around you that will accept you no matter what, I would definitely encourage you to come out. If you're not really there yet, or you're not sure about, you know, who's around to support you, or you don't know if you have a safe space, then maybe it's not your time. Ultimately, you'll know when it is best for you to come out. Just know that you are loved. There are people that care about you. You will know when it's best for you to make that decision to come out. If any of y'all have coming out stories, I would love to read about them. Post them in the comments below. If y'all haven't already done so, please hit that subscribe button. It does help me out a lot, and I would be thankful for it. Thank y'all for watching, and I hope y'all have a great day. Bye.